In this lesson, we're going to further hone and develop our understanding of how to structure our IELTS letter. And we can really follow this structure every time we write. So, first up, let's take a look at a question, and then we'll see the answer and we'll talk about how the structure is put together. A good friend from another country is moving to your city for work. First thing I think, good friend, informal tone then. He, she has asked you for advice about living in your city. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, suggest an interesting part of the city to live. Describe the public transport in your city. Say how your friend can meet new people there. Okay, so as always, quickly highlight some information. Good friend, moving to my city for work. Asked for advice about living in the city. So suggest an interesting part of the city to live in. Describe the public transport. Meet new people there. Okay, we'll not dive too far into the question because we're mostly just looking at structure. But what we'll do is we'll see an answer to this question now. Let's have a read through first. I think it's always useful to read through model answers, and then we'll talk about structure. Hello there, Graham. It's very exciting to hear that you're moving to London. As you'll probably be working in the city centre, perhaps you could think about living near me in Croydon. It's a large town in South London. There are people here from all over the world, and it has a friendly, relaxed vibe. In terms of public transport, you can get around London by bus or the underground. You should get an Oyster card. I'll help you with that. It means you can get on and off without having to buy a separate ticket each time. Public transport is pretty crowded in the mornings, but no worse than in Moscow. I'll introduce you to my friends, and I'm sure you'll meet people at work too. You could try living in a shared house if you want to meet some locals. Anyway, I can't wait to see you. Lots of love, Jane. Okay, so here we have a model answer. Yeah, it would really be a band score 9. Great answer here with lots of really useful information and structured really well. The paragraphing is very clear. There's not loads of different ideas thrown randomly all around. It's very clearly paragraphed. So let's just talk about structure now that we always follow. So up first we have a greeting. This example is informal, but if you're going to do formal, dear person's name or title. But this is informal greeting first. Then we have our introduction sentence. So that's one sentence, intro, and that's really just kicking off our letter. And up next is BP paragraph 1. BP for bullet point, because of course the bullet points really tell us how to structure our writing. BP paragraph 1, BP paragraph 2, BP paragraph 3. So you can see that that really clearly keeps one or two ideas to each paragraph. I'm not mixing them between paragraphs. I'm really clearly using paragraphs just for one idea, for one bullet point. And finally, of course, outro sentence, very informal here. Anyway, I can't wait to see you. That's really informal. And sign off, lots of love. Jane, sincerely, Jane, whatever it may be. But lots of love is, of course, more informal. There we have it. Informal greeting, one sentence intro. Then we have our bullet point paragraphs and an outro and sign off. You can follow this for every single letter structure you write. Of course, tone, language and purpose will change a little bit for sure. Okay, next thing I want to say about structure that I've kind of talked about already is our bullet point paragraphs, or detail paragraphs, I sometimes refer to them. Now, structure can also be talking about coherence and cohesion. So to help with structure, which is from our band descriptors, coherence and cohesion, stick to main ideas in each paragraph. Your plan helps you with this. So let's take a look. Here is a plan that I have for this writing. So P1 or BP1, Croydon multicultural. So I'm not going to go on about Croydon multicultural and in that paragraph include public transport too, because that would be confusing. Paragraph should be one main idea. I mean, I have two ideas here, but the bullet point I think was saying describe the area. So I will, or suggest where to be. Croydon, and it's quite multicultural. So that's great. I've just stuck to that idea, the main idea of Croydon here in BP1. In P2, we have bus, tube, so we're describing the public transport, and Oyster card. So I'll also talk about the Oyster card. Again, we're just sticking to what was asked in that second bullet point, not switching between loads of ideas. Sticking to this structure really will help with the band score. And lastly, paragraph 3, the bullet point was saying, asking us how will they meet friends. So my plan was, I basically said my friends, which I mean, I'll introduce my friends to Graham, who is moving to the area. And also shared house, so just a suggestion for him. He could move into a shared house and find friends that way. So there we have a bit of information on sticking to clear structure for your paragraphs. Super important, and often students don't really consider it enough, and then their writing becomes quite confusing, mixing between lots of ideas. It's not easy to read and scores lower overall band scores. So there you have some ideas on structuring, how we can structure our writing in different sections, and also how it's important that we stick ideas within certain paragraphs.